published 4:55 Eastern Standard Time, the 24th of December 2017, updated 9:52 Eastern Standard Time, the 24th of December 2017. Barcelona underlined their dominance over current La Liga champions Real Madrid with a thoroughly deserved 3-0 win at the Bernabeu on Saturday. Although the La Liga table had already suggested the gap between the two teams is widening, this one-sided victory all but confirmed Barcelona's re-emergence as Spain's dominant football power. But how did Ernesto Valverde outwit Zinedine Zidane? Sportsmail's Amitai Winehouse takes a look at the finer details. Barcelona underlined their dominance in La Liga with a thumping win over the champions. For so many years, England has been seen as the home of 4-4-2. Spanish sides have primarily played in a 4-3-3, now the formations have flipped. Manchester City, flying high at the top of the Premier League, are playing a classic Pep Guardiola 4-3-3. Barcelona have taken the Mike Bassett approach. On Saturday the two teams lined up in variations of 4-4-2. Barca had the flat midfield 4. Real played a diamond, and both teams absolutely stacked the middle of the park with central midfielders. That created this ludicrously congested space where neither team could break down the other or win any sort of battle in there. It meant the entire first half was a near write-off in terms of entertainment. Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema played as the hosts' front two. They floated wide, especially Ronaldo, which should have opened up space for their number 10. The problem was that Luka Modric was picked for that role, a player far more suited to playing deep. And, ultimately, it caused huge defensive problems for Real. Both Real Madrid and Barcelona lined up with a variation of the classic 4-4-2 formation because Real's midfield was so narrow, it meant their full-backs had to get forward. Dani Carvajal and Marcelo are both excellent attack-minded players, but their desire to get forward left huge space at the back. That would not have been a problem if it were not for the way Barcelona defended. Dani Carvajal and Marcelo's attack-mindedness left huge space at the back for Real Madrid. It was strange to see their defense, in the main, play as a rigid, solid back four. Sergi Roberto and Jordi Alba stuck to their positions as much as possible. The only time this really changed was on the counter. That meant there was no space for Real's flying defenders. And when Barca broke, there was tons of room. That is where the first goal came from. Barca broke courtesy of a pair of lovely passes, first from Sergio Busquets and then Ivan Rakitic. Ivan Rakitic was given the opportunity to drive into space after getting behind the midfield. Rakitic's ball took Real centre-backs out of the game. Luis Suarez had no one marking him as Carvajal was so far up the field. He ghosted in, met Roberto's low cross and scored. It was a simple finish, but it was made so much easier by Real's defending. The Real Madrid centre-backs were left completely exposed as Rakitic drove forward. Rakitic's pass out to the right wing took Real Madrid's defence out of the game completely. On the other hand, Barcelona were fantastic at stopping Real from countering. Whenever a set-piece broke down, their defenders got back into their positions and reformed that solid four-man back line. The midfield were equally disciplined. It meant Real, a team who can be ruthless on the break, had no real opportunities to do so. Prior to the start of the season, Gerard Piqué admitted it was the first time and he felt inferior to Real since he moved to Barcelona. On Saturday it seemed as though he was on a one-man mission to rectify that. Despite the problems, Real did get into a few decent crossing positions in the first half. Piqué was always there to head the ball away. He made 8 clearances, a staggering figure. He also put in a few important tackles. Most notably, he was so good it made us forget Thomas Vermaelen was playing in a Clasico. It really was a Piqué blinder. Gerard Piqué made a number of important tackles and 8 clearances for Barcelona. Mateo Kovacic has not had the most involved season for Real. The Croatian had only played 3 La Liga games before Saturday. He did, however, start both legs of their Spanish Super Cup win against Barca. And after the match, Valverde admitted he had been troubled by his selection. Kovacic played really well in both games of the Supercopa and is a great player. So I am scared about the quality of the players, and he is a great player. He seemed to be tasked with the same job at the Bernabeu as he was in those two Super Cup games, mainly to man-mark Messi. Mateo Kovacic's role of man-marking Messi saw him dragged out of position to free Rakitic, but that caused problems for Real. He was playing in the center of the diamond, which meant a huge gap Barca could exploit if Kovacic got dragged away following the diminutive Argentinian. And they did for the opener. It was into that berth vacated by Kovacic that Rakitic drove with the ball before playing it to Sergi Roberto. It's conceptually okay to man-mark Messi, but his constant movement, especially playing in a front two, means it was a mistake to have Kovacic in that role. It's almost impossible to run through an entire Clasico without heaping praise on one of Ronaldo and Messi. This time it was the Barca man who came out on top, and comfortably too. His penalty may have killed off the game, but it was a pass moments before that stood out. If anyone else had played the ball he did to Suarez, there would have been sonnets written about it. From there, via another lovely layoff, the red card and penalty came. That dual blow was absolutely devastating to Real's hopes of taking anything from the match. Then, with the game essentially done and dusted, he killed it. He dribbled brilliantly on the right, creating a yard of space for himself in the box. The outside of the boot low cross for Alex Vidal was sublime. Even more impressively, he did it with one of his boots missing. It was one of 9 chances he created in the match. When compared to Ronaldo's single chance created, that is a phenomenal outing for Messi. Lionel Messi's pass to Luis Suarez was the kind of pass that sums up his immense creativity. His second goal was a death knell for Real, but what Barca did next confirmed the victory. Zidane threw on Nacho to tighten up his defense. He then waited a minute before deciding to throw on Gareth Bale and Marco Asensio. He didn't get the chance to for the next 5 minutes. Whatever Valverde's side did, they made sure the ball did not go out of play and that they did not give away a free kick. There was tons of recycling of possession, tame 5-yard passes, and most importantly, no opportunity for the fourth official to lift up his board. Any boost Real might have gained from throwing on the Wales international and the young dynamo was nullified. The ball simply did not leave the pitch. By the time they came on, there was only 10 minutes left on the clock and barely enough time to turn it around. If Piqué stepped it up for the Clasico, Varane did the opposite. He failed to win a single take, made no interceptions and struggled to handle Barca's runs all match. Admittedly, he was abandoned by Carvajal to his right, but there was a reason the forwards kept placing themselves on his shoulder. That was Suarez's run for the first. And for the second. There was clearly a weakness to be exploited there. Rafael Varane struggled as much as Piqué impressed, and Suarez took advantage.